Hello and welcome to another edition of Michigan Conservative Roundtable. Today's talk is going to be the first of what I hope will be many. They'll all be viewed on Mondays and it's going to be called Max Held Accountable. Today our subject is Joe Biden. Joe Biden, you need to be held accountable. Was in the Senate for 36 years, vice president is 8. Guy did nothing while he was in office, other than persecute people. He, in my opinion, was an emergency pick for Obama because I've never heard anyone else say this, but my gut feeling told me that John Edwards was supposed to be the guy. But somebody did their homework for a change, and Edwards was found out to be a scumbag. He was cheating on his wife while she was dying of cancer. Typical of leftists, Joe takes blame for nothing and credit for everything. All the successes of President Trump in 2 years, not 44, Joe Biden and Barack Obama take credit for. His Senate record is extremely weak. As I said, he takes credit for everything, blame for nothing. He recently said, and we'll get into a list of things he said throughout his career, and recently he said something that's very disturbing. He called for the left, Democrats, to physically revolt as a way to deal with Republicans. I don't like a couple of words there, physical. It's going to get people hurt, people on the left especially, because you're going to pick the wrong guy at the wrong time and you're going to get yourself iced. But the word deal with, that bothers me a lot. Let's take a quick look at some of the things Joe Biden has said. He'll cure cancer if he's elected. Really, Joe? You're going to cure cancer? Because there are a lot of cancers. And that we have an obligation to take care of the health care needs of 22 million plus illegals. If we were to do that, we'd have this Joe Biden's idea of open borders. We would just have people flooding in here for their free health care. Joe hasn't always been for open borders. He was a strong immigration guy at one time, like most Democrats, but now that they need to replace black voters with Mexican and Guatemalan voters and whoever else they can find on the planet Earth that will vote for them so they can regain their power. He on race, he says, back in the 90s when the Clintons were putting their crime bill together, and he and they referred to black people as predators. Big time guy for putting black people in prison. Joe said during the 2012 campaign against Mitt Romney, he gonna put y'all back in change. Recently he said that we were gonna bring back, we Republicans, bring back Jim Crow. Not gonna happen. When speaking about then Senator Barack Obama, he said of Senator Obama, he's the mainstream African American. He's articulate, he doesn't speak with a Negro dialect, he's clean, and he's a nice looking guy. He's clean? Really? He once commented that you can't go into a 7-Eleven or a Dunkin' Donuts without hearing an Indian accent. I mean it really, he said. Well, Joe, so what if they have an Indian accent? What's that got to do with anything? Is it a problem for you? Joe recently also said, white culture, it's got to go, it's got to stop. Really, Joe, what do you want to replace white culture with? Islamic culture, where we throw gay people off roofs, hang them, stone women for getting raped? Maybe you'd like to replace it with a communist culture of some type, where if your enemies are a problem for you, you put them in prison or you shoot them in the back of the head, Joe. How about a Hispanic culture? Extremely corrupt culture. That's why these people are running in droves away from it. Talk about Joe on guns, since he's an idiot on this topic. He told women to get a 12-gauge shotgun instead of an AR-15 because the AR-15 is too much for them to handle. Of course, people took off with this. They went on YouTube, and you can see a variety of kind of comical videos of young women getting knocked on their rear ends by the recoil of the shotgun while just plunking away, plinking and plunking with an AR-15. He told his wife Jill, if intruders come to your house, you go out on the balcony and you fire a couple of blasts. I hope the Bidens don't have close neighbors. He told others to shoot through the door if you had a home invasion happening. I wouldn't recommend you follow Joe's advice. You're probably going to end up in jail. Facebook had quite a good time with the memes on that one. You'd have Joe with a shotgun, and then on the other side of the door you'd have the Girl Scout selling cookies, the Domino Pizza guy, the UPS and FedEx guys delivering their package, and there's Joe ready to blast them through the door. By Joe's own credit, he says that he's a gaffe machine. Let's talk about that for a minute. He once asked a paraplegic man in a wheelchair to stand up so everyone could see him. He also credited quoting Teddy Roosevelt as saying, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." And the president's got a big stick. I don't know about the president's stick, but I know the quote is, "Walk softly and carry a big stick." He's not quite done with Roosevelt's, however. He said that when the stock market crashed in 1929, that President Roosevelt, Franklin Delano Roosevelt, went on TV and spoke to the nation to calm everyone down, to get things back in line. The problem was Franklin Roosevelt wasn't president until 1933, and TV didn't come about for quite a few years later. Now we can talk about what a big flip-flopper Joe is. You know, people could change their minds on critical issues as they get older and perhaps wiser. Not Joe. He's flipped on the Hyde Amendment. He's flipped on abortion. He's flipped on immigration. In fact, Joe is flipping more than a chicken on a rotisserie. I suspect Joe Biden is only running for president for one reason. Not because he wants to be president. If he wanted to be president, I think he would have ran, and he could have ran and possibly won in 2016. But it was Hillary's turn, as we all know. But I don't think he really wants to be president. I think he's running for president today because he's trying to avoid prosecution for his part in the attempted coup and overthrow of a duly elected President Donald Trump. I think he's trying to keep his son out of jail, and I think mostly he certainly wants to stop any investigations that Mr. Barr is conducting. It's going to be big problems for Joe, his family, the Clintons, the Obamas. Big trouble coming for those folks if they aren't able to, if the deep state's reach isn't as far as I think it possibly could be. One more thing on Biden, this goes to his overall credibility and character. This guy's been accused of plagiarism far too many times for my liking. I mean, sometimes it's a misunderstanding, it's a mistake. Just too many times. That's going to wrap it up on Joe Biden. Don't vote for this man for president. It would be a huge mistake. He's bad for America. And as we say on the Michigan Conservative Roundtable, be safe, watch your six, and don't tread on me.